everyone. Today me, Armani, along with my team members are here to introduce you to a distinguished professor of English and ex-dean of the Faculty of Excellence, Professor Gary Leasing. He is an award-winning poet who received Harold T. Clark Jr. Award in 2014. His piece, Toenail's Diary, won the 2008 Indian Review Prize. Moreover, he is teaching beginning and advanced creative writing courses. So at this time we can barely make a sandwich, and Professor Leasing is here like running a faculty and writing award-winning poetry. It's just amazes us so much. So teach us your ways. So today we are here to interview him for a leadership assignment so that we can get an insight of how to be a perfect leader and learn how to foster team unity while ensuring efficient task completion. So Professor, shall we begin the interview?
Yes. Thank you.
So, can you please tell us what was your first leadership experience and how was it?
Probably my first leadership experience here at Utica, then Utica College. I was chairing a task force. It's called a task force on writing. And the goal of that task force was to increase the presence of writing in classes throughout the curriculum on campus. It was actually not a great experience as a leader. A good learning experience, but not a great experience otherwise, because there was not a lot of support for that group's work. So one of the issue that everybody on the task force learned pretty quickly was that we could come up with ideas, but we didn't have a mechanism to then communicate our ideas to other people and to communicate it across campus and to make the things that we thought should happen actually happen.
Okay. Thank you. So, can you please describe a time when a trait of yours helped your leadership in a way that you made it a part of your leadership style?
Yeah, so I kind of think one of the things that I might describe myself as something of an introvert and maybe even sometimes quiet. And I think that's helped me as a leader because I don't know if I'm always the good listener that I need to be, but being someone who is kind of introverted, I think I'm more apt to listen than I am to necessarily always feel like I have to be the one who's talking to people and telling them what to do. And I think it's a good trait of leaders to be willing to listen to everyone in the group that they're leading, to recognize that everyone wants to be heard, and also to be willing to running a meeting or in any kind of conversation, to be willing not to be the one who's always speaking, to let other people have their say so you can hear other ideas and recognize that, right, the reason hopefully you want to lead other people is to get their ideas out, not necessarily to always see your agenda through.
Okay. So, I would love to hear an experience where your ability to develop a skill outside of your immediate area of expertise led to an unexpected outcomes in your life.
So one of the things that I did as English department chair, it was at a time when I was starting that job at a time when the institution was becoming much more interested in doing serious academic assessment. And looking at learning goals and courses and programs and understanding how we knew that our students were learning what we wanted them to learn. And I had no preparation for how to do assessment or how to organize it. And so I really had to learn not just how to do assessment, but then how to put it together into reports that made sense. And so we ended up doing really good assessment as a department because I think, I learned enough about it to learn ways to do it that were not especially a burden on faculty, so it would add some work to what they had to do, but not too much. But I also think that's helped me not just do that kind of assessment, but it's helped me in life in more general ways, because the idea of doing assessment is that you're always thinking about what goals are, and you're thinking about goals in very concrete, specific ways, right? And you're thinking about how you can meet those goals. So, I mean, I just give you an example that now I'm volunteering on a board for a local arts center, and we're talking about what we want to do as for our community. And so instead of thinking about like, well, we want more people to come, you know, I'm able to go into those groups and make suggestions about who are the people that we want to get here that we're not getting here, and to think about what's really kind of measurable for success, rather than thinking about like, we want to do everything better than we're already doing it.
So do you, as a leader of a team, also face problems like self-doubt or some uncertainty?
Yeah, absolutely. Right, that it's, you know, it's also that self-doubt in understanding what all the relationships with people on the team are, not knowing, right? We have a meeting, we get together as a group, we discuss what we've done, what we think we're going to do, and then there's all this time in between that meeting and whatever the next meeting is. And so, right, like not always, because we're not always here at the same time, even, right? So it's not always being able to keep the lines of communication open. It's not like people are trying to not communicate. It just doesn't happen. So it's easy to think at times like, are we all still on the same page? Am I still leading this group well? So yeah, absolutely.
Then how do you like regain confidence in that type of situations?
A lot of it is, I think, as a leader, being transparent with people about the decisions that you make and why you make them. So if we've decided to do something in a meeting, and we, for whatever reason, it's not going to work out, right? To not just let it drop, but then to communicate to people. This is why, as the leader, I've had to change ideas. You know, I can give you an example of one. So this is again while I was chair of the English department. We had a set amount of scholarship money to give to students who met certain criteria. And we would get together in May at the end of the semester to talk about students and say who were the ones who we ranked to get these scholarships. And then we make the decision and we tell our financial aid office, and they send out the award letters. Over the summer then, a student who was not on that list when we made the decisions in April or May, whenever it was, but finished that semester with really strong grades and moved up to where he was qualified, got in touch with me because he was struggling financially and was going to leave the school, and was saying, is there anything that like, what do I do? How can you help? And so I started talking to our financial aid office and looked at it and saw like, well, we had money left that we didn't give out in these scholarships. This student is eligible. So I said, you know, to the financial aid, without contacting the rest of the department, give this student this money. And then as soon as I did that, right, I went back and told the faculty, this is the decision that I made. I realized I didn't consult you, but the student was in a place of real desperation. If we didn't do it quickly, the student probably wouldn't have come back. So I don't think nobody really complained to me. I don't think they mind it. But that's part of like, you can counter, and I was questioning like, should I even do this or should I wait? But you can counter your self-doubt sometimes and uncertainty just by making sure the people that you work with know why you are making decisions, rather than keeping this decision the reason behind the decisions to yourself.
Thank you. So, if you could amplify one personal trait to be an even more effective leader, then which would it be?
Ability to communicate clearly and like communicate in everything that communication means, not just speaking, writing clearly, but also listening to other people clearly, having conversations, right? Like, and part of like good communication is also establishing trust with people so that when you disagree, you can feel comfortable disagreeing because you're going to talk through the whole issue, right? So like I think if you can have really good communication, you can lead better.
In what ways do you adapt your leadership behavior when guiding a team through any kind of uncertainty?
I think what I usually try to do in uncertainty is slow things down. Right, because sometimes you can't because you have deadlines, but if you can work more slowly or as slow as you can kind of sit with the uncertainty and understand it better. Because if you're not sure exactly what to do in some situation, if you're struggling trying to figure it out, you also could be likely to respond in a way that isn't the best response. So the more you can like sit with the uncertainty and understand it, the better opportunity I think you have to overcome it.
How do you ensure development of new skills for yourself and your team in a rapidly changing environment?
That's a really hard thing to do, especially with the kind of, like in an academic environment, with the kinds of schedules and workloads that we have. I think the biggest thing is to be aware of what the opportunities for individuals are, especially if you have gotten to positions where you are in leadership. You've probably taken advantage of things that are out there to help you, and so thinking like for faculty, newer faculty may not know all of the kinds of financial opportunities that are here, like research grants, travel grants. So I think the best way is to make sure that faculty know, the people working with you know what are the opportunities that are out there with support, and then also, like I've done this with faculty who are newer than I am. I've let them see like the proposals that I've written, so they have a model for it. So they're not going into like trying to get support blindly, but they know that there's somebody who's willing to share what's been a success for them and willing to help them think about how they can potentially get the same kinds of support.
What's the most surprising behavior you would have to change or adjust as a leader?
I think for me at least, and I think this might be true for lots of people who work as college professors, the lots of the work that we do is work that's by ourselves, I mean, I'm an English professor, I'm a creative writer, I sit down alone, and like for me to be a successful writer, I need to be at home by myself or in here by myself writing. And then even like teaching is still, planning courses is often a solo activity, and grading papers is something we do alone. So that sort of like, I think lots of the training that we have to get to this job is how to work by yourself. And so the big thing to sort of change and learn differently is how do you work with other people, and how do you, right? If you have a big report that's due, it's really natural for, I think especially for like English professors, to be like, I'll go home and I'll write this and I'll have a draft, instead of like, we will sit down and try to write a draft, or we'll assign parts of it to different people and everyone will write a section and then we'll come back together.
what is the one lesson that you learned as a leader that you wish you could teach to every aspiring leader?
I think it's that idea of confidence. You know, because I can remember like two sort of like even quick examples. There was one time as a department chair, I was trying to make a schedule of courses, and I kept going to the dean who was above me and asking like, is this okay? And then we'll come back, is this okay? And at one point she finally said to me, you're the department chair, like, you're in charge. And so I didn't have that kind of confidence. The other example that I'd give is just running meetings. Like I used to always go through running a meeting and feel like we didn't accomplish anything. We got to the end and people talked a lot, but I didn't really know what we had done. And after one of those meetings, a friend said to me, well, it was actually about assessment, right? And the friend said to me like, oh, well, that meeting took a long time and it was kind of a pain to sit through, but you got 5 things out of that you can use now. And I didn't realize that until he said it. And so I sort of feel like, right, that idea of getting confidence and recognizing that like, wait, I know what I'm doing, I should trust myself, and I set up this meeting and we wanted to accomplish things and I got those things done. So even if there are other things along the way that seem like they're difficult, like to just believe that like if you set out to accomplish something and you get pieces of it done, that's effective.
Thank you so much, Professor, for taking out time for your super packed schedule for us. So we as a team learned a lot from you today, and I'm sure this video will be beneficial for us and our classmates who are a part of this MBA leadership course, because you clearly described the do's and don'ts to be a perfect leader. And your leadership insights were not only inspiring but made us feel like we can conquer the world too. So thank you again, Professor, to give us a few minutes of your precious time.
Thank
you
you.
so much.
Yeah,
Have
I'm
a good
happy
day.
to do this. You too.
Yeah.
Thanks. If you need anything else,
Yeah, sure.
let me know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sorry that it took so long to get this done.